Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wa sayyidil mursaleen. இக்ரா இஸ்லாமிய சங்கத்தினால் தொடராக இரண்டாவது வருடமாகவும் ஏற்பாடு செய்யப்பட்டிருக்கின்ற சிபிஎஸ்இ தரம் 12ஆம் ஆண்டு பரீட்சைகள் எழுதி சித்தி எய்த மாணவர்களை கௌரவிக்கின்ற இந்த நிகழ்வுக்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கின்ற உங்கள் அனைவரையும் அஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும் வரஹ்மத்துல்லாஹி தஆலா வ பரகாத்துஹு என்று சலாம் கூறி வரவேற்றுக் கொண்டு இந்த நிகழ்வுகளை உத்தியோகபூர்வமாக அல் குர்ஆன் பாராயணம் செய்து ஆரம்பித்து வைப்பதற்காக வேண்டி செல்வன் அப்துல் அசீஸ் ஹரிஸ் அவர்களை அன்போடு இவ்விடத்துக்கு அழைக்கின்றேன்.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
ஜஸாக்குமுல்லாஹு கைரன் கைரல் ஜஸா. அடுத்ததாக இந்த நிகழ்வுகள் குவைத் மற்றும் இலங்கை ஜனநாயக சோசலிச குடியரசினுடைய தேசிய கீதங்கள் இசைக்கப்பட்டு உத்தியோகபூர்வமாக ஆரம்பிக்கப்பட இருக்கின்றன.
السيد الفاضل محمد جميل الشمري مدير لفرع لجنة التعريف بالإسلام اللي بالجهرة، والأخ الكريم محمد عبد الله حسن تاكور، والأخ الكريم الفاضل محمد صالح. அன்புக்குரிய தாய்மார்களே, பெற்றோர்களே, சிறார்களே, மாணவர்களே, எமது அழைப்பை ஏற்று இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வந்த அனைவரையும் நான் வருக வருக என்று நான் வரவேற்றுக் கொள்கின்றேன்.
හැමෝටම සුබ සැන්දාවක්. අද අපගේ මෙම ආරාධනාව පිළි අරගෙන මෙතනට ආපු සියලු දෙනාම අපි ආදරයෙන් මෙතන පිළිගනිමු. ගරු ඉක්රා ඉස්ලාමීය කමිටුවේ සභාපති, ඒ වගේම අපේ ආරාධිත අමුත්තා, ඒ වගේම IPC මෙම ආයතනයේ කළමනාකරු, ඒ වගේම අපිට සහායට ඇවිල්ලා සිටින මොහොමඩ් සාලිම් එතුමනි, ඒ වගේම සභාවෙන් අවසරයි. මම පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් විදියට මේ කතාව කරමු කියලා හිතාගත්තා. අද මම දන්නවා මෙතන දෙමව්පියෝ ඉන්නවා, ඒ වගේම දූ දරුවෝ ඉන්නවා. මේ දූ දරුවන් අවුරුදු සාමාන්‍යයෙන් LKG UKG ක්ලාස් 1 to 12 වෙනකම් අවුරුදු 14ක්. එහෙම නැත්නම් අවුරුදු 10ක් අඛණ්ඩව අධ්‍යාපන කටයුතු කරගෙන ඇවිල්ලා අද එම ඒ අවුරුදු 14ක එහෙම නැත්නම් මම හිතන්නේ වයස අවුරුදු 18යි එහෙම නැත්නම් 17ක් වෙන මේ තත්ත්වයට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. අද තමයි ඒ ප්‍රතිඵලය නෙලන දවස. මම අහන්න කැමති මේ ගමනේ මේ දරුවම් විතර දාවේ අම්මලා තාත්තලා කොච්චර මහන්සි වුණාදනේ? උදෙන්ම නැගිටින්න නාන්න ඇඳුම් මාරු කරන්න ඉස්කෝලේ සපාතු පොලිෂ් කරන්න පන්ති යවන්න කොච්චරක් ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අපේ පාසල් අධ්‍යාපනයට අමතරව අපේ ටියුෂන් පන්ති ඒ වගේම කරාටේ ස්විමින් වොලිබෝල් ෆුට්බෝල් ඊට අමතරව ගර්ල්ස්ලට වෙනම පන්ති. එතකොට මේ දෙමව්පියෝ සෑහෙන දුරක් අද ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. කාමරය අස් කරන්න, ඇඳුම් මාරු කරන්න ඒ සේරම දේ දැන් අදින් පස්සේ සමහර වෙලාවට සමහර දෙමව්පියන්ට නැති වෙනවා. ඇයි? ඒ ළමයි සමහර වෙලාවට විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයට යනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් දෙමව්පියන්ගෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් ඈත් වෙලා වෙන ඒ කට්ටියගේ උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය හදාරන්න වෙනම යනවා. ඒතර ඊට පස්සේ සමහර වෙලාවට ගෙවල් වල පාළු ගතියක් දැනෙයි මේ ළමයි නැති වෙනකොට. ඉතින් මම හිතනවා මෙතන ඉන්නේ උගත් ළමයි ටිකක් අපි දැක්ක අපේ ප්‍රතිඵල 95 90 85 ඒ වගේ හොඳ ප්‍රතිඵල අරන් තියෙන ඉතා හොඳ අපේ ශිෂ්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යාවන් තමයි මෙතන අද ඉන්නේ. අද ඉඳලා අවුරුදු සමහර වෙලාවට අවුරුදු 5ක් 6ක් වෙනකොට ડોක්ටර්ස්ලා ඉංජිනේර්ස්ලා දන්නේ නාසාවද මයික්‍රොසොෆ්ට්ද තව කොහේ ගිහලා හිටියේ දන්නේ අපි ඒ කට්ටියට සුබ පතනවා. හොඳ අනාගතයක් හොඳ දීප්තිමත් අනාගතයක් හැමෝටම ලැබෙන්න ඕන කියලා. ඒක හින්දාමයි අපි අද විශේෂයෙන්ම ඕගොල්ලන්ව මෙතනට ආරාධනා කරේ. අපේ විශේෂ අපේ මේ ප්‍රධාන ආරාධිත අමුත්තා එයා motivational speaker කෙනෙක් මිස්ටර් අබ්දුල්ලා හසන් තාකූර්. මම හිතනවා ඕගොල්ලන් එයාගේ අද මෙතන ඒ කතනෙන් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉදිරි අනාගතයට ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ අනාගතය දීප්තිමත් කරගන්නට එයින් යම් කිසි දෙයක් ලබා ගනී කියලා අපි ඕගොල්ලන්ට සුබ පතනවා. ඒ වගේම මම කැමති ඉක්රා ඉස්ලාමික් කොමිටි එහෙම නැත්නම් IIC කුවේට් ගැන පොඩි හඳුන්වා දීමක් කරන්න. විශේෂයෙන් මෙතන දැන් ඉක්රා ඉස්ලාමික් කොමිටි අවුරුදු 30ක් පරණ සමිතියක් කුවේට් වල අධ්‍යාපන මඟ පෙන්වීම ඒ වගේම ආගමික මඟ පෙන්වීම ඒ වගේම ගොඩාක් දේවල් දැන් අවුරුදු 30ක් සේ ඉඳලා කරගෙන යනවා. මේ අවුරුද්දේ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ ඉඳලා අපි පටන් ගත්තා මෙහෙම ශ්‍රී ලාංකික දූ දරුවන් ඒ කියන්නේ අධ්‍යාපනයෙන් මේ විශිෂ්ට දස්කම් පෙන්වන මේ දූ දරුවන්ව ගෙන්නලා ඒ කට්ටියට යම් කිසි දෙයක් දීලා ඒ කට්ටිය උනන්දු කරන්න ඕන කියලා. ඉතින් මේ අපේ දෙවෙනි අවුරුද්ද අපි ඉදිරියටත් මේ වගේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ඕගොල්ලෝ ඉක්රා ඉස්ලාමීය කමිටුව හා සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න කියන අපි කුවේට් වල විතරක් නෙමෙයි කුවේට් වල අපි ඕගොල්ලන් දන්නවා කොවිඩ් ආපු වෙලාවේ අපි වියලි ආහාර බෙදුවා. ඒ වගේම හැමෝටම මෙඩිකල් කැම්ප් වෛද්‍ය සායන පැවැත්වුවා. ඒ වගේම කුවේට් රටට අපි ලේදන් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මුහුදු සුද්ධ කිරීම ඒ වගේ දේවල් කරනවා. ලංකාවේ ඕගොල්ලන් දන්න සුනාමිය ආවා. ඒ වගේම ගංවතුර ඒ වගේම නායයාම් ඒ අවස්ථාවලදී අපි මෙහෙන් ආධාර එකතු කරලා ලංකාවට අපි අතහිත දුන්නා. ඉතින් අර අපේ මේ අපිට නැගිටින අත දුන් මේ රටට අපි ඒ වගේ උදව් උපකාර කරනවා. ඉදිරියට අපේ මේ ගමනේ ඕගොල්ලොත් එක් වෙන්න ඕන. අපි මේක හැමදේම මේක විනිවිද භාවයකින් කරන්නේ. ඒ අපි ඉදිරියට අපේ වැඩසටහන් වලට ඕගොල්ලන්ව අපි සහභාගී කරගන්නවා. ඕගොල්ලොත් පුළුවන් විදියට අපිත් එක්ක රැඳී සිටින්න.
A very warm good evening and Assalamu alaikum to one and all. First of all, I would like to appreciate ICRA Islamic Committee for putting this event together, especially dedicated to felicitate the students who have excelled in their 10th and 12th examinations. Throughout the last 30 years, ICRA Islamic Committee has been in the forefront of doing community service, especially in the empowerment of youth and their development of their character. And this very event confirms and testifies their service to Sri Lankan community in Kuwait. I would like to introduce our chief guest for the evening, Mr. Abdullah Hassan Thakur, a renowned entrepreneur, visionary leader, and inspiring public speaker. Mr. Thakur has achieved remarkable success in the world of business and has dedicated himself to empowering others with his knowledge and expertise. As the co-founder and CEO of venture capital fund UK USA, Mr. Thakur has played a pivotal role in shaping the landscape of entrepreneurship and innovation. His exceptional ability to identify and nurture groundbreaking ideas has led to the growth and success of numerous startups. With over 50 lectures and talks delivered to more than 10,000 attendees worldwide, he has become a sought after speaker on topics of entrepreneurship, leadership, and self confidence. Since 2019, Mr. Thakur has served as a guest lecturer and advisor to the prestigious Oxford University backed boot camp, Infinitum Education. Through this role, he has inspired aspiring entrepreneurs and instilled in them the essential skills and mindset required for the success in the competitive business world. Adding to his wealth of experience, Mr. Thakur serves as a board member for various global startups alongside distinguished members such as Mercedes Germany, Intel USA, Sony Japan, and Aramex. His invaluable contributions and insights have guided these organizations towards achieving new heights of innovation and growth. In recognition of his exceptional dedication to fostering entrepreneurship and social development, Mr. Thakur was bestowed with the esteemed Contribution to Entrepreneurship and Social Development Award by the Asian Arab Chamber of Commerce in 2019. This accolade acknowledges his selfless efforts in conducting numerous workshops and lectures free of charge for students across the globe, empowering them to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. Furthermore, in year 2009, Mr. Thakur was honored the Best Employee Award by British Telecom. With a diverse background that encompasses positions ranging from consultant to director, advisor to board member, CEO to vice president, Mr. Thakur has demonstrated his versatility and adaptability across various organizations in Europe and the Middle East. So it's definitely a huge honor and a privilege for us to have such a distinguished, rare skill and talent who is an asset for our community to be amongst us. And I welcome on behalf of IIC and my personal behalf and you all to address the gathering. Please welcome Mr. Abdullah Hassan Thakur.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. I wouldn't take him too seriously. So, first of all, the students who have done very well, I wish I was as good as a student as you were. Maybe I would have done better in life. I was thinking all this while I was sitting, what am I supposed to share with you? And I'm going to share with you what I would share with my own kids. And I'm going to share with you the secret of success. And the secret of success is both simple, but actually very complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and break it down for you students, to understand that life is, like he said, it's a journey. Your graduation is just a milestone. This will get over. All the pomp and joy, all the sweets and gifts will get over. life will begin. Your life begins when you start dealing with real people. In school, in college, and university, you deal with a professor, you deal with a teacher, and you deal with an exam. That's it. You do well in the exam, you do well with your teachers, and you get good grades. And you pass with honors, and now you're thrown into this big fat world. When I was your age, when that happened, that big fat world was actually very black and white. There was nothing complicated. If we had to gather as friends, there was no SMS, there was no WhatsApp message, but we would be on time. Nobody was late. If we had to do something, we did it out of instinct, not out of social media guidance. So the challenges you kids have today are far bigger than what I had. And that is why every time I speak to students like you, I try to take my time to gather the amount of wisdom, whatever that I have, to point you to the right direction. Because you are bombarded with so many messages and content. Historically, this has never happened. The amount of time you kids spent online is so high and so huge that those social media companies are probably the wealthiest companies on the planet today. I was talking to my son, and he was giving he's in second year college, and he was giving his exams, and I know he's not good at math. So I told him, Sam, you better be studying. He said, Dad, don't worry. I've got ChatGPT. I said, what? What's that? I didn't know what it was. He said, Dad, now I don't have to answer my exams correctly. I just have to follow what ChatGPT teaches me. I actually thought ChatGPT was his professor's name. So you're living in a world where you have enough resources, avenues, opportunities to succeed. But you have one major disadvantage. One major. It's called lack of attention. Because you're surrounded with so much, it's like a person who's privileged. It's like a person who has everything. It's like someone who's got all the powers of the Avengers together. And he's thinking, now what? What do I do? Do I break the wall? Do I fly high? What do I do? That part is where you get stumped. That's why listening to me today is going to be important to you. Why? Because I've gone through this. I was not a good student as you. I was actually very bad. In fact, one of my teachers said that if this boy becomes a serial killer or a murderer, then that would be fair. Unfortunately, I disappointed her. I'm here where I am today. I may not have been a good student, but I was very good at paying attention. If I liked something, I would go deep down into it when there was no internet and try to understand it. Everything for me was a process. It begins, it ends. Okay, what's in the middle? I would question it. And over a period of time, I started to question so much that I realized that what I was being taught and what is life is two different things. Do you know that most of what you're learning now in school, you will never get to use it in work? You will never get to use it in work. In fact, even if you become doctors and nurses, what you're taught in medical school is the procedure. But the stress of dealing with a patient who's moving, the stress of dealing with a patient's family who's screaming, nobody teaches you that. So how do you get yourself to focus? That's where it begins on this age, on your age now. If you didn't do it now correctly, you would have a problem dealing with it later. So there are two concepts. One is called education, another is called knowledge. Education is what you're doing now, and you're doing it very well, mashallah. I'm very happy for you. But knowledge is what you need to succeed. If you don't have knowledge, you can't succeed. What is the most important knowledge that you need? How to deal with other human beings. How to deal with regret. How to deal with failure. The most successful people that I know are people who can handle failure. They don't go like, oh, come on, this can't be happening to me. No way. No. Handle failure. Success comes when you get used to handling failure over and over again. You know, in the field of medical science, in pharmaceuticals, when they do research, every time the research fails, they call it data. They don't call it failure. You know why they call it data? They say, now we know what not to do again. So in life, anything that is disappointing, anything that is a failure, remember that. That's data for you. It's not failure. Someone lets you down, someone you thought was a friend is no longer a friend, a teacher you thought was great is no longer great, a relative that you thought would back you up is not backing you up. Data. Why? The human body is made such that your brains are like an empty barren land. Whatever you put on it, it will stick. If you get used to fearful about something, your body will react. All right? So you need to basically make sure that whatever goes into your head is optimistic or positive, nothing negative. That is why one of the things that even Islam says, make sure of who you hang around with. Who are your friends? If you hang around friends who are carefree, always want to have a good time, listen to nice music, go to parties, how long? And then what? You will not be this age forever, correct? Will you be this age forever? Unless I freeze you in some, time slot or something like that. That's good in the movies. In reality, we all grow. I was once your age. I am this age now. I have kids your age now. If somebody told me at that age, you're going to have kids this age, I would laugh at him. I'd say, oof, are you kidding me? I'm never getting married. Most of you are going to think like that. I'm never getting married. No, you will get married. You will have responsibilities. And when you get married, your parents will give you advice and you will counter that advice. And then you will think this is not the right person for me. And they will think this is the right. This is life. So besides failure, the other ability you need to have is the art of negotiation. Bargain. You know how you go to a shop and you say, I want this. I love it when my wife does it. She's so embarrassing that if the shopkeeper says 300, she'll say 3. Literally. So I'll go that far and say, I'm not here. You have to bargain. You want to win? You want to succeed? You have to bargain. And you can't bargain with tears. That's a very wasteful bargain. Nobody buys it. Bargain with something that you can convince someone to let go of their position and agree to your position. All of those people who are able to bargain in life, who can negotiate themselves out of a tough situation, are people who are very successful. Steve Jobs, the famous Steve Jobs, he created Apple, which became such a big loss-making business that the board fired him. He got fired. He was thrown out of the board, Steve Jobs. And then what happened? He came up with a good argument, a very good argument, and he sold it to the board. And the board said, this is great. I remember way back 1996, 98, I used to work for this advertising agency. And our creative director decided to buy an Apple Mac. And we called it the white elephant. And we thought, why would you spend 1,000 KD on a PC? Guess what? Today I'm using that. People who bargain well know their objectives. Your ability to study well finishes with your degree. The day you graduate from the university, it's done. Now is the world of knowledge. Now is the world where your ability to bargain, negotiate, and get your end positively will help you succeed. While I was not good at studies, I was very good at bargaining. I can't remember a game or a race that I have lost. When I have lost on my terms. So if I was playing a football match, and if my team was losing 5-0, I would insist on my team to score 1 goal. 1 goal. Does anybody want Do you win after 5-1? Do you win or you lose? You lose, right? I don't think it like that. I say instead of 5-0, they won 4-0. I scored 1 goal. Your life is always going to be about winning something from your defeat. Until and unless you get that mindset, you won't be on my path. I was playing a cricket match many years ago now. We used to play 25 overs those days. And the opposite team scored 220 or something. And now it's our turn to bat. And they started dancing. They got drums and dancing. They got me very upset. So I padded up and I entered the pitch even before the umpires. And the very first, I was an opening batsman. Very first ball I hit for a 6, and it went and went and went, and the fielder caught it. I looked at the fielder and I said, "Oh my God, not my day." And I was walking out. The umpire came. He said, "Hang on. I think this guy crossed the boundary." He went and he looked and he said, "He's crossed the boundary. It's a 6er." Trust me, any other normal human being on the planet who plays cricket, the very next ball will play it. Guess what I did? Very next ball, another 6. Next ball, another 6. Next ball, another 4. In fact, the last ball I took a single so I can come back and play. I was so hurt that they tried to insult me and my team by dancing even before we played. Nothing is finished in your life until it's done. That day, I scored 144. We won the game. We won the game. You win because you are purpose driven, not because you're technically there. Everything that your school is teaching you will not be something that you can use in your life. What you can use in your life is probably something that I'm saying to you today. Do you know the famous Indian wicketkeeper Dinesh Karthik? Dinesh Karthik, does anybody know Dinesh Karthik, the Indian wicketkeeper, right? Did you know that he studied in Kuwait? He was studying in Kuwait. He was this tall. Me and another Pakistani gentleman called Arshad Shams used to train him. His dad used to come and tell us, put him in front of the fastest bowlers. And that boy would never play with a helmet. Never. I used to tell him, "Dinesh, put a helmet." He said, "Sir, I can't focus if the helmet is on." You have to understand the attitude of people who are successful. They're not worried about getting hurt. They're not concerned about failure. They're worried about going to the next level and the next level and the next level until he played for India. There are too many success stories from Kuwait that I can tell you about. Too many success stories. But you have to understand the essence of success for a student is not education, it's knowledge. While the brother was talking about perseverance, yes, you have to persevere. But as a person who works, you don't persevere, you always pivot. And it's 2 different English words. Perseverance is in the same way. Don't give up, never give up. I say no. If you think something doesn't work, shift tracks, pivot. We are living in a world, you see, in the Asian community or the Middle Eastern community, it's not popular to have gap years or sabbaticals. In the Western world, it's very normal. 1 year gap year, 2 year sabbaticals. Oh, I was doing science and now I need to do arts. Or I was doing arts and I think I'm going into AI. So you're going to get into those kind of positions. But what if you're not sure about what you want to do? What if you're confused? What if you think that, oh my God, all this news about AI taking everybody's jobs. So what am I going to do? Right? Again, another hype that media sells to you and you want to buy it. I'm from technology. My last job was for British Telecom. I was head of Middle East and Africa. When I was in BT, they were talking about drones. And we will have so many drones. And everything in the world will be drones. Do you see drones besides the ones that you use to click pictures? Do you see them? So a friend of mine who is a very senior person in Intel, he and I were having lunch in London. I told him, listen, is it true that drones are going to take over the world? He said, listen, if Amazon decided to deliver all their packages by drones, Just 10% of them. They do 200,000 drops every day, Amazon in America. So 10% is 20,000 drops. He said, imagine 20,000 drones in the sky. A, if any one of them falls, somebody dies. B, the most easiest things to hack is a drone. It's very easy to hack it. And 3, he said, we need an air traffic control. So I said, well, why are you guys investing so much money in this? He said, we need to do stuff like that. Then I'll give you another good one. Have you heard of the famous Elon Musk? He's got a company called Tesla, which is driverless cars. So one of my good friends is the second guy in Mercedes in Stuttgart in Germany. And I was talking to him. I said, are we going to have so many driverless cars in the world? Is this really coming? He said, listen, all of this started because of research. What did the research say? It said that normal human beings, you and I, when we drive cars, there's a 1% chance we will have an accident in our entire lives. I said, all of this for that 1%? He said, yeah, it sells. So you as young people, young minds, fresh, trying to understand what am I going to do in the world? Where am I going to be? How am I going to change the world? Like you said, you're going to change the world. Inshallah, you will. But what if you're not clear about what you're doing? So how do you get clarity? How do you get clarity? Even water, if you need clarity, you need to take away the particles. You take away the particles, it becomes clear. Now, clarity for you is most important and essential for your development and growth. How do you get it? You talk to mentors. You talk to people with experience. You talk to your dad, you talk to your mom, you talk to your uncle, you talk to your auntie, people who have worked, and ask them, okay, what happens in your work life? Is it exactly the way we romanticize it? And oh, it's such a happy going thing. Dress up, go to office, come back, and you have a salary in your bank account. Your dad does not tell you how much suffering, stress, mental stress he goes through, because he comes back and he leaves all of that aside for you. But guess what? You will have to face it when you start working. Why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you this to panic you. I'm telling you this to get ready to accept failure. Because people who win are never scared of this. Jack Welch, the famous CEO of GE, when he got appointed as the CEO, you know what he did? He invited all the general managers of GE from around the world, and he said, let's sit together and I'll tell you my plan. This is how leaders think. He puts them in a theater-style meeting room, 600 people, 800 something, and he starts explaining his vision. This is my vision, this is my objective, this is my strategy. At the end of it, he says, anybody who does not disagree, who doesn't agree with this, raise your hands. So around 400 people raised their hands. He said, all of the others, leave the room. He again presented his plan and vision with more clarification. He said, now, anybody who thinks this is not the right approach, raise your hands. So another 300 of them raised their hands. He said, okay, the rest of you leave. He did it 3 times. And the 3rd time, the ones who didn't agree, he said, okay, now you who didn't agree, the balance, please go to your offices and type your resignations. Leaders know what they want. They will do what I'm teaching you now, which is bargain, negotiate, but they will not bargain and negotiate forever. You can't completely change for someone. Leaders don't do that. You will discount, you will reassess, you will reposition, but you will be confirmed about what you want to do. Now, how is it possible for you to do all of this if you're hanging around the wrong people? The wrong people are those who are keeping you away from your objectives. Do you know some of the successful entrepreneurs that I know? I hate to admit it, most of them really don't have too many friends. They have colleagues, they have associates. They don't have too many friends. But do you know what they have? They have an objective in life, and they're people who make a difference in this world. They make a huge difference in this world. Positivity comes from the intent of thinking. So if you are able to understand what is knowledge and what is education, let me tell you today, after you get your university degree, Your education is finished. You are now one of the millions who's going to stand in a line waiting for a job. Any country in the world has an unemployment ratio which is one of the highest in the last 100 years. Any country in the world you pick. Your own country, Sri Lanka, whether you pick India, whether you pick the USA, everybody has huge unemployment. So what do you need to do? You need to take me seriously. You need to actually build yourself so well that when you sit for an interview, the interviewer goes like, what the hell just happened? When I would attend an interview, I would call the shots. That poor interviewer would ask me, okay, Mr. Abdullah, can you tell me something about yourself? This is how they normally begin. And I would go like, forget me. Let's talk about what's happening in this world. And the guy looks at me and says, what? No, I'm saying, seriously, can you imagine the economic situation we're living in? Can you look at the world environment and what's happening with the ozone? Can you imagine the challenges people at my age are going through? Now this guy is thinking, oh my God, who the hell is this person? So now he's remembering me constantly, even if he had 100 interviews. You have to position yourself as what? As a brand. If you don't think of yourself as a brand, you will be what I call commodity. If you're not Apple, then you're just a phone. Correct? If you're just a phone, who has time for you? So how do you get to put yourself in that position? You acquire knowledge. Like I said, you talk to mentors. You talk to people with experience. You invest your time trying to understand how it works. Because there is no recipe to success. If anybody is telling you that, if there is a book that I've read Philip Kotler, I've read Gary Armstrong, I've read Stephen Covey, and around 9 years ago I stopped reading. I said, okay, this is their philosophy of success. What about mine? What about mine? I want you to think like that. You did not graduate 10th and 12th with good marks because you were not smart, right? You did that because you were smart. Now, how do you move from smart to wise? How do you get to wisdom from smarthood? You get it by acquiring skills, by using your time and making sure that you're acquiring your time and efforts in all the right things. You know, there are many things that are visible to the naked eye, and somehow you don't realize how important they are. I'll give you one fact in history. Do you students know who were the two biggest losers in World War II? Which two countries lost in World War II? Can you tell me? There are two countries who lost World War II, right? Who were they? No, I would want to hear the kids. Which country? Yeah? Because of Hitler, right? Who was the other one? Which was the country that America bombed? Exactly. Japan and Germany were the two biggest losers of World War II, correct? America almost flattened them with an atomic bomb. Did that happen, yes or no? Correct? Correct? Who's the two greatest economies of today? Germany and Japan. Where do you get all your technology from? Germany and Japan. Where do you get all your mechanics from? All the tubes and pipes and pumps? Germany and Japan. Who has the two finest cars in the world? Germany and Japan. How? How is it possible? The world got together to defeat them, correct? So how do they come up as winners? Because you get used to accepting failure. Failure is not the end. It's just a part of your journey. The Japanese realized it. The Germans realized it. In fact, the Germans were so arrogant that they refused to show Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse to their kids. They made their own cartoons. And you know what their cartoons did? Their cartoons said that a mouse cannot fly, which is Mickey Mouse. And a duck cannot talk, which is Donald Duck. They wanted to teach their German kids that what the Western world is teaching their kids is foolish. We will teach you reality. So if you want to succeed from failure, if you want to go from defeat to success, you have to understand how to do that. These are two nations, not individuals. There are many such examples. We the Muslims, we came from what? A little marshland in Mecca. Known for what? Was it known for industry? Was it known for trade? Was it known for innovation? No, it was known for fighting a war just because I don't like you. Killing people because, oh, you stared at me, now I need to kill you. They used to bury the girl child. If there was a girl child born, they would bury. And where did we go from there? We became one of the largest communities in the world, 2 billion today. Based on what? How many wars did the Muslims have to go to Africa, to go to Asia? None. They managed to communicate message of love, honesty, and good personality. Successful people are honest people. Successful people are people you can deal with. Successful people don't say, I hate this one and I don't like this one. No. You don't have time for that. We had a companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, who's buried in China. Imagine a man from Mecca buried in China. Why? He went there to trade and he went there to show what a Muslim tradesman does. Most of the Islam that spread to India came from tradespeople, from business people. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you personality plays a huge role in success. If you have a personality that's arrogant, oh, I'm 97% student, so I don't talk to the guy who failed. Who are you, Mr. Little Guy? Okay, make fun of him, make jokes of him. You succeeded because you are potential leaders. Leaders are not people who can be negative. Leaders are not people who are egoistic. Alexander the Great, the famous Alexander the Great, came from a very big family. And his father was one of the commanders of the Roman Empire. The problem was that his father chose the wrong side. So there were two people fighting on the top to get to the emperor, and his guy lost. So what happened to Alexander? He got thrown in as a regular soldier. And he went into the Roman army as a regular soldier, and he kept fighting and fighting and fighting and winning and winning and winning until he became Alexander the Great. You have to understand that your perseverance is required. Of course it is required. But I want you to basically understand that the concept of success comes from you. Nobody, not me or anybody, can teach you what is your recipe of success. Some of you are going to succeed immediately. Some of you know. Those who will succeed immediately will be open to everything. There's no barriers to entry. I will take all the information and I'll make up my mind. You need 3 elements to succeed. 3. Knowledge, number 1. Number 1, knowledge. You need knowledge. And it's not your studies like we agreed, okay? Knowledge. Number 2, you need to have a mission. What am I doing this for? What is my objective? You need to have that objective. If you have that objective clear, you have to start working on the plan. The third one is the most important one. If you have the third one with you, you'll do it. It's called sabr, patience. If you don't have patience, everything that you have acquired, everything that you worked for is gone. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salat fa inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. Oh, who you believe, establish prayer. And Allah is with those who are patient. He didn't say Allah is with those who establish prayer. He said Allah is with those who are patient. Imagine your Creator is saying, I'm with you if you're patient. Why? Because patient people understand how to be calm. They don't panic. Oh, I lost my job. Oh, but let's panic. Oh, I didn't get this university. Let's panic. Oh, my pitch didn't come through. They didn't fund my startup. No. Patience. Your time will come if you master the art of patience. So I didn't plan to talk too much. I was telling him, but unfortunately, when I talk to students, I feel a sense of responsibility. I feel that each one of you needs to get enough opportunity in life. And if there's little bit that I can do, even 2 bits, to guide you there. Because, okay, you have to understand something. Your organization here did a fantastic job of getting here. I came in here in pretty much the last bit. Okay, I was not even supposed to be here. But when it comes to students, I never hesitate. I had a personal engagement. I said, no, students, you guys are my responsibility. You are the future. You are the future. This is a fact. It's not a statement. It's not a tagline. It's a fact. If you don't take life seriously, we all are going to suffer. We have an environment that is flagging and lacking. We have governments that are flagging and lacking. We have societies that are crumbling. We have business empires that are selfish and self-motivated. We need you guys to do something, and never think, how can I change the world? Never do that. I have a slogan in my life, which is in my LinkedIn profile. I say, the world does not stop when you do, it only starts when you begin. The world does not stop when you do, which means if you decided to have a bad day, oh, I'm not feeling well, others will go ahead and you will be behind. The world does not stop when you do, it only begins when you start. Your world begins when you start. I wish for all of you to have the best of starts. I wish for all of you to have enough motivation to never give up. I wish for all of you to have the patience as strong as the dam that holds the waters in tons and tons. I wish for all of you to have visions bigger than 50, 100 Einsteins put together. I wish for all of you to have hearts that are humble, kind, respectful. I wish for all of you a future where there is a change that all of us can enjoy. And I wish for all of you success that is good for you in this world and the hereafter. I hope today this little blah blah helped you. I'm going to be around for a little bit, then I will leave. You can take my social media details from the brothers here. I'll be more than happy to advise, guide if I have time to mentor you. But please, I would like to see you guys in another 10 years showing the success you got because you listened to me today. That's my success. So with that, I will end my blah blah, and Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.
The floor is yours. Any parent can come to the stage.
Assalamualaikum. ආයුබෝවන්. ඇත්තෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම පිළිබඳව ඉක්රාක් ඉස්ලාමික් කමිටියකටත් ඒ වගේම IPC ආයතනයටත් ගෞරවනීය ස්තුතිය දෙමාපියන් වශයෙන් පිරිනමනවා. මේ අපේ දුව දරුවන්ගේ ප්‍රතිඵල ඇගීමක් ලක්කිරීමට සෑම වසරකම මේ ඉක්රාක් ඉස්ලාමික් කමිටියකට ශක්තිය ධෛර්යය ලැබේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම අපේ දුව දරුවන්ට ඔවුන්ගේ ඉදිරි අනාගතය ඉතාමත් සාර්ථකව සර්ව ප්‍රකාරයෙන් හිතන පතන දේ ඒ ආකාරයෙන් ඉෂ්ට වීමට ධෛර්ය ශක්තිය ලැබේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මම හිතනවා අපේ දුව දරුවන්ට ඉතා වටිනා කතාවක් අසන් ලැබුණා. ඒ තුලින් ඉතාමත් ධෛර්ය සම්පන්න ශක්තියක් ඒ දරුවන්ට ලැබෙයි කියලා ඒ සම්බන්ධව ඉක්රාක් ඉස්ලාමික් කමිටියකට නැවත වතාවක් මගේ හදපිරි ස්තුතිය පුද කරනවා. මේ වගේ වැදගත් පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ කතාවක් අපට ඇසීමට සැලැස්වීම ගැන.
அஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும் வரஹ்மத்துல்லாஹி வபரகாத்துஹு. இந்த நிகழ்வின் இறுதிக்கட்டத்தை நாங்கள் அடைந்திருக்கின்றோம். அல்லாஹ்வின் கிருபையின் காரணமாக நாம் இந்த நிகழ்வை சிறப்பாக நடாத்துவதற்கு அல்லாஹ் தஆலா அருள் பாலித்தான். அல்ஹம்துலில்லாஹ். இன்றைய சூழலில் நாம் மாணவ பரம்பரையை கட்டி காப்பதற்கும் பாதுகாத்துக் கொள்வதற்கும் நிறைய சவால்களை எதிர்கொள்கிறோம். அந்த வகையில் எமது மாணவர்கள் குவைத் வாழ் இளைஞர்களாகிய நாம் எமது மாணவர்களின் கல்வி அடைவினை பாராட்டும் முகமாக ஐஐசி நிறுவனத்தால் ஏற்பாடு செய்து வருகின்ற இந்த நிகழ்வு 2வது வருடமாக நடத்தப்பட்டு வருகின்றது. அந்த வகையில் இந்த நிகழ்வை சிறப்பாக நடாத்துவதற்கு அல்லாஹ் தஆலா எங்களுக்கு அருள் பாலித்தான். அல்ஹம்துலில்லாஹ். அதே போன்று குறுகிய கால அழைப்பினை ஏற்று எமது குறுகிய கால அழைப்பினை ஏற்று இந்த நிகழ்வுக்கு விசேட அதிதியாக கலந்து கொள்வதற்கு எம்மோடு கலந்து கொண்ட விசேட அதிதி மிஸ்டர் அப்துல்லா ஹசன் தாகூர் அவர்களுக்கு ஐஐசி சார்பாக முழுமையான மனப்பூர்வமான நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றோம். Our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to our chief guest who spent his valuable time gracing this occasion and delivered a valuable speech for our students. அதே போன்று இந்த நிகழ்விலே கதாநாயகர்களாக கலந்து கொண்ட எமது மாணவர்கள் அவர்களுக்கும் நாங்கள் நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். ஐஐசி சார்பாக அவர்கள் எதிர்காலம் கல்வியால் வளம் பெற வேண்டும் என்றும் இன்னும் பல அடைவுகளை அவர்கள் அடைய வேண்டும் என்றும் நாங்கள் பிரார்த்தித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். அதே போன்று இங்கு வந்து கலந்து கொண்ட எமது பெற்றோர்கள் குடும்பம் சாய்ந்தும் கலந்து கொண்ட பெற்றோர்களுக்காகவும் நாங்கள் இந்த இடத்திலே ஐஐசி சார்பாக நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். Our sincere thanks to parents and family members of students for being here with a busy schedule and commitment to grace this event to strengthen the Sri Lankan identity, cooperation, collaboration and coexistence with us. நிறுவனத்தின் அறிமுக நிகழ்வை நடத்தி சென்ற சகோதரர் ஷேக் மம்ஷார், அதே போன்று ஹரிசாலே அவர்களுக்கும் எங்கள் நன்றிகளை நாங்கள் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். அதே போன்று இந்நிகழ்வில் கலந்து கொண்ட ஐஎஸ்சி நிறுவனத்தின் நல்லுள்ளம் படைத்த அதிதிகள், அதே போன்று தொடர்ந்து எங்களுக்கு பங்களிப்பை தந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்ற அங்கத்தவர் அனைவரையும் நாங்கள் இந்த இடத்தை நன்றியோடு நினைவு கூறுகின்றோம். அதே போன்று இந்த இடத்தை எங்களுக்கு தந்து உதவிய ஐபிஎஸ்சி நிறுவனத்தை நாங்கள் மனப்பூர்வமாக இந்த இடத்தில் ஞாபகப்படுத்திக் கொள்கின்றோம். شكر والتقدير للأستاذ جميل الشمري والشيخ نظيم وإدارة لجنة التعريف للإسلام. شكرا جزيلا. அதே போன்று இந்த நிகழ்வை சிறப்பாக நடத்துவதற்கு எல்லா வழிகளிலும் ஊடக விடயங்களை சிறப்பாக மேற்கொண்டு வருகின்ற ஐஎஸ்சி நிறுவனத்தின் ஊடக பிரிவுக்கு எமது மனப்பூர்வமான நன்றிகளை நாங்கள் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றோம். அதே போன்று சிற்றுண்டி விஷயங்களை அழகாக ஏற்பாடு செய்திருக்கின்ற சேவை பிரிவினர், அதே போன்று நிகழ்வை சிறப்பாக நடத்தி கொண்டிருக்கின்ற ஒருங்கிணைப்பாளர் ஷேக் மம்ஷார், அதே போன்று ஐஎஸ்சி நிறுவனத்தின் நிர்வாக சபை, அதே போல் பெண்கள் பிரிவு அனைவரையும் நாங்கள் இந்த இடத்திலே மனப்பூர்வமாக ஞாபகப்படுத்தி நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your support and participation in making this event great success. In conclusion, I would like to say that this event would not have been possible without you, without the support and hard work of IAC board, members, volunteers, guests, donors, well-wishers, invitees and participants. அத்தோடு கடைசியாக இந்த நிகழ்வு பற்றிய கருத்துக்களை வழங்கிய சகோதரர்களுக்கு எனது மனப்பூர்வமான நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். ஜஸாக்குமுல்லாஹ் கைரன், பரக்கல்லாஹு ஃபீக்கும்.